How is everybody tonight? Oh, I'm vertical. All right, I'm going to forewarn everybody. I may go way off topic tonight. I'm liable to have a tangent or two because I'm somewhat frustrated. Not necessarily in a bad way. I won't have a tantrum, no, but I will go on a tangent. I had the first part of my week was a little bit rough. It started last Sunday. And several things that I had said in here were used someplace else. And Atheist podcast. They basically were reviewing things that I had said outside of the biblical contradictions, stuff that I covered. Well, I made a reference to somebody. And a reference, whenever you're using a reference for something, right? If I say Mount St. Helens is the largest peak in the world, right? Is it Mount St. Helens or Everest or one of those? Okay. Huh? Is it Everest? Okay. Everest is the highest point on the planet, right? There's no argument about it. So if I reference a high point and then I go on to describe things about a high point, am I still referring only to Mount Everest? I've now made it general, right? Because I'm referring to high things. Okay, well, that's what I did. I made a point of reference for the listener to hear that this is not just me making stuff up. This is an experiential thing. I've met someone, and this is the criteria for it. And then as I went on, I stopped using she, which she was where I started, and then I changed it to you. You, the person listening. I don't know if symbolic's the right word, but I was speaking generally. If I was speaking about one person throughout the entire thing, I would have continued to say she was like this. This is what she did. This is what she believed. I didn't. I said you. I generalized it. But everything I said was taken very personally, and it became an attack. Week before last. No, I think you missed it. I don't think you were here for that one. It was when I was covering biblical contradictions. And it became a mess. Because these people are people I consider to be friends. Our agreeing on theology is irrelevant. Because they're completely atheistic. So, and I'm a theist. So we don't agree, but that doesn't change that I have a God-given love for them. That I care about these people. And it's just... the relationship is, I don't know if it's dead in the water entirely, but it might be, and it makes me kind of sad, because something I said, I wish I just made the whole thing general, not use any point of reference for any of it. I wish I had, because then nothing ever would have come of it. They would have still covered it probably, and, said their piece about it and their disagreements with what I said and everything, which is fine. I don't care about that, but it kind of... basically, to their audience, I'm just another bigot Christian person who is nothing but full of just hatred. I hate everybody who doesn't agree with me. That's how all their listeners. I was in the chat room and I read most of them. Some of them I just had to. Yeah. Well, no. It was their live broadcast of their show, but there's a chat room that they run while they're having their live show. So as they were covering, people were commenting in their chat room. And I was in their chat room when the gasket was blown, basically, and yeah. No, and I don't have a problem with that. The problem that I have is that it was taken as a personal attack. It's like if I attacked somebody verbally, you'd know I was attacking you. I would be addressing you. I would use your name. There would be no doubt I was attacking you. None. But when I refer to somebody as she, and then I move on to a general term, you the listener, or you the people who fall under the criteria of whatever it is I'm talking about, it's a generalized term. And it sucks. It's unfortunate that what I said was taken personally, and now I'm lumped in with the rest of the other haters, basically. And there are some very hateful people who claim to be Christian. There are. Lots of them. Oh, in spades. Anyway, so yeah, I'm going to try to keep, but I mean, we've already 10 minutes in and I'm already haven't even started yet. So I'm not sure how good I'm going to do, but I'm going to try to keep focused here tonight. The question is, who is a Christian and who is religious? Okay? This is more than likely going to be at least a 2 or 3 part series. Okay? Because as I started getting ready for this, I'm like, there is no way we will be here for 4 or 5 hours. And I'm like, I don't even want to be here for 4 or 5 hours. I don't want to talk that long. I could. I don't want to, though. So unless God moves on me, I mean, I'm just going to stick to part 1, and then, well, I don't even have part 2 ready, so who knows. Okay. From an atheistic point of view, if you believe in a higher power, you are religious. That's it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Doesn't matter if you're Buddhist, Hindu, Muslim, Christian, whatever. Now, I'm going to give you the definition of religious, okay, or religion. It's believing in a god or gods, okay? Do we have a god or gods as Christians? No, we have the God, big G, not a one of the many or multiple. It's the. He is the Alpha, the Omega, the first and last, the beginning and the end. That's it. You know? So even technically by definition, from my perspective, if you say a or make God's plural, that's not me. I serve the God. He is the only one. They may not distinguish between a and the. To me, a and the are completely separate words. That's just me. So even by the definition of religion, Christians don't fall into that. You know? But of course, anybody who serves a God, Muslims, they would say the exact same thing. You know? So, I mean, really, you could almost call that splitting hairs, because anyone who serves one God will say, I serve the God. And it's like, but you don't. Now, here's the one thing that really just kind of, and people don't grasp this concept. What is the oldest faith? Let's get it from religion. What's the oldest faith on the planet? The first one. Well, no, it was from a religious. If you use religious titles, what would be the earliest form of faith? It would be Judaism. It's the first one. What was there before? Before, if God created the heavens and the earth, Adam was with God. His relationship with God would be, for lack of a term, it'd be his religion, right? Okay, so I guess you could say he's not. The word term Christian means Christ-like, essentially, or a follower of Christ. So you can't really use the term Christian for Adam, because I mean Christ hadn't come yet. So really, I guess you'd say he was a Hebrew, and Hebrew served Yahweh, right? I mean, the Hebrew really didn't begin until the line of Abraham is when they actually became a people sect. It was the line of Abraham, but pretty much his father, who's Abraham's father, you trace his lines, goes back to Adam. So I mean, pretty much it would be that bloodline from Adam was Abraham. So if Abraham's bloodline is a Hebrew, then I would trace that. I would say that everything before him was a Hebrew as well, right? Not officially by name, but it's the same bloodline. So, well, the difference I want to try to make here, I want to try to separate Christianity from religions. Okay, I draw a distinction between religion and Christianity. Christianity is not my religion. Christianity is my lifestyle. It's my life goal. It's my pursuit. I want to be as close to Christ as I possibly can. I want to be as much like Christ as I possibly can. I cannot achieve perfection. Therefore, I can never be like Him. But as long as my daily goal is to try my best to not think things I shouldn't think. Don't lust, don't curse, don't swear, don't get drunk. Love my neighbor as myself. I mean, there are over 3,000 commandments in the Bible. But if you go ask the common layman on the street, how many commandments are in the Bible? Oh, there's 10 commandments. Yeah, in that one tiny paragraph. What about the rest of it? We're not commanded to do anything else in the rest of the Bible? There's no other commandments there? I mean, yes, those 10 are imperative. You should do those. But if you maybe if you adhered to all 10 perfectly, you would follow the rest of them too. Maybe. But I mean, that's a long list of commandments. 3,000, it's more than you can just put in 10 little ones, 10 little sentences. It's a lot more than that. I mean, that's the whole Bible, Old and New Testament. Now, let's go back to Judaism, though. We are not Jews because we don't have that bloodline. We don't have the Abrahamic bloodline. Okay? Now, some of us, we actually could 10, 15, 16 generations ago. We wouldn't know. Okay? But that we know of, no one in here is a Jew. So what's the difference between Judaism and Christianity? It's Christ. That's the only difference. We believe everything the Jews believe, except that we know that we're not under the Mosaic law. Now, I may do a Mosaic law teaching because that's a night in and of itself, just covering the Mosaic law and all the things that was required of the Jews. But go to the Exodus if you really want to study it for yourself. I mean, it's a long chapter. It's almost as long as Olivet Discourse just by teaching. But we share the same God as Jews do. We serve the same God. We worship the same God. The only real difference between a Jew and a Christian is that they don't accept Christ as the Messiah. And therefore, if you don't accept Christ, all you have is the Mosaic covenant to govern your life by. You have nothing Christ said or did to understand the new laws, the new covenant. Was it made for them too? Yes, it was. They were not supposed to fall back under legalism and back under the Mosaic covenant. The Mosaic covenant was for a time. It had its purpose. But that purpose has been fulfilled through the person of Christ Jesus. Now, does that mean the covenant is null and void? Christ himself said, I did not come to destroy the law or abolish the law, but to fulfill it. And that's what he did. He himself is a fulfillment of the law, but they rejected him. They have stayed under the Mosaic covenant. So because they rejected the new covenant, Christ will, when he returns, he will not return until the fulfillment of the old covenant has come full circle. Okay? Now, in Daniel, there's a specific part where it teaches that where Daniel got a little overzealous. Okay? And he tried to enact what some of us call the loophole of the Mosaic covenant. The loophole essentially is a part in the Bible during the Mosaic covenant towards the end where it says, but if you stray, so on and so forth, when you follow whatever, if you and your fathers will come back to me and repent, I will cover you again. You will be forgiven. I will reinstate my covenant with you. That's what he tells them. But it's you and your fathers, it's all of Israel has to simultaneously and at the same time surrender to God. That's it. They put their hands up. They have to give it up. They have to. And that will happen when the Antichrist is at Mount Megiddo, beating down the walls of Jerusalem, ready to just utterly wipe them out. When they're face down in the dirt, weeping, they will surrender to God. They will say, Father, forgive us, all of them, because they will all be moments from death. And in that moment, I think that will be the moment when Christ returns. I believe that will be the moment that death will cease. But it'll be when the Antichrist is sitting there with an army tearing down brick by brick, bullet by bullet, missile by missile, just trying to do everything he can do to destroy Israel before Christ descends from heaven. And then they will enter back into the covenant because all of Israel will be in such terror and horror, they will have come through the fire and be tried as gold is tried. And that's what the Bible teaches. Now, if you want more details on that, I would definitely have to refer you to my Revelation study because I cover all that stuff in detail. We would literally be here for hours if I tried to do it tonight. So,